Oh, wow. Okay. Hello, YouTube. Okay. Hello, YouTube. Yes. Thank you. Okay, cool. Okay, Culprit plus one. Okay. So today the title of my topic is who's the culprit of the Ukraine-Russian war? Okay. Yesterday night I give a very small flavor of it. Okay. Who's the culprit of the Ukraine-Russian war? Knowing the answer to this gives us a very good insight to the degree of economic impact that we have, the stock market fluctuations, what are the implications to all of us in this entire war. Okay, yes, thank you everybody. Okay, so the title today is called, let me just give me a minute. Okay, the title today is called Who is the Culprit of the War? Okay, understanding it will help us understand the economic implications. Okay, now it just came to my realization, okay, that who is the culprit of the war. Now you need to take note that who do you think is the culprit of the war? Can we at least have some comments on this? Who do you think caused the war? Okay, because depending on who caused the war, you will understand how long this war will last, how deep this war will last, and then you know what it impact to us. And today, Minister Taman has already come out and said something which I'll cover at the end of the slide. Okay, it's very critical because what he said exactly resonate with what I've said earlier. Okay, I'm so surprised that yes. Okay, culprit plus one. So for all those people who heard what I said yesterday, yes. All right, cool. Ukraine president didn't. Yeah, he was partly involved. Military industrial complex, yes. NATO and the US, yes. Okay. Lynn, you can WhatsApp B right now, 9780682. Okay, for the question. Yeah. Okay. So in order to appreciate who caused the war, who is the culprit behind the war, let's go back to the history of it. Okay. Yes. The first and most important question we need to ask ourselves is who benefit the most out of this war, logically, right? Because the person that benefits the most out of this war, or the country that benefits the most out of this war, okay, is most likely the one that has a hand in it. Yeah. Okay. So we really have to understand that this war between Ukraine and Russia may not be a war between Ukraine and Russia per se. Yes. So let me ask yourself, who benefits the most? Okay. Let's take a look at this. So this is USSR. Okay. For many years, the Soviet Union has been a huge conglomerate of many countries. And one fine day in 1991, Gorbachev, who started, no, I don't think he started in 1991, but he started earlier on economic and political liberalization, and suddenly the entire Soviet Union collapsed. Okay, and since then, Russia, okay, then have a understanding with NATO, okay, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, 北西洋工业组织 something like that in Chinese. And NATO promised Gorbachev that in 1991 that they will not expand eastward anymore. Okay, but did they keep to their promise? No. Since 1997, this is the map of Europe. This was originally the dark purple here represents the area occupied by NATO. And then since 1997, they have been accepting more and more members again and again. So the light purple here represents country that they have accepted since 1997. Okay, and this is Russia. Can you see that? Russia. So right now, the only few countries that draws a line between NATO and Russia is Belarus, Ukraine, and Crimea. Right? Can you see? And who do you think is NATO's biggest enemy? Who is NATO set up against? What? Set up against who? You know how big NATO the organization is? NATO, the huge organization, set up against who? Okay? It was obviously set up against Russia, right? Okay? Of course, that time China is still very weak. Nowadays, yeah, they Culprit, China also very big. Okay? It is true that it's in verbal, but verbal is also a commitment, right? In the eyes of the law in Singapore and in Commonwealth law, a verbal contract is as serious as a written contract. You can, right? You studied law, right, in SMU? Yeah. A verbal contract is as serious as a written contract. Okay? So Russia was, in a nutshell, being conned. Okay? Now what does Russia do, right? Russia see, wow, all the NATO expansion coming closer to my doorstep. So what do I do? Okay, what does Russia do? Russia under Putin warn NATO lah. 妈的，你再来我就啪啪两下. Did they listen? No. 5 times the expansion happened. Okay, and I've got this in the slide in under Culprit +1. Okay, I just this is what Putin said in 2007. Okay, I'll just read to you a bit. Okay, and then someone in US said that NATO's expansion is recklessly ignoring what the Russian considered to their vital national interests. And then Putin himself said this: NATO has put its frontline forces on our border, okay? And then it represents a serious provocation that reduces the level of mutual trust, okay? And may I have the right to ask against who this expansion is intended for? You expand against who? You expand for a purpose, right? You expand against who? What? Against the skies? Against what? So all the references are in the slides. Okay, I did a lot of research on this. Okay, so time and time again, NATO just ignored, and time again, Russia said, "You're too much lah, too much." Then they just expand closer and closer to the doorstep. Now imagine this, okay? If you are USA, suddenly China expanded to Mexico. Okay, you think USA will allow that? You think USA will allow that? Many has predicted that the NATO expansion will lead to war. Those warnings were ignored. Again and again and again, political activists, analysts, and political leaders warned that if NATO were to continue to expand, war will break out. What happened to this? What happened to this warning? Ignored. Just ignored. Okay? Now, to some extent, Ukraine 也该死. You know why I say that? Ukraine, under the last 2 presidents, keep courting NATO. They were very friendly to NATO. You see, this is the NATO. This is the NATO representative, and this is President Zelensky, which is the current president of Ukraine right now. Keep doing all sorts of things to tell NATO, please accept me into your membership as a member of NATO, right? So in 2020, President Zelensky approved Ukraine's new national security strategy, and to draw a distinctive partnership with NATO, ultimately to get a membership into NATO, right? NATO is basically set up more or less as a counterforce to the Russians. So therefore, as you can see, for many decades, NATO, okay, has been provoking the Russians, right? And of course, NATO is more or less led by which country? The Europeans and US. So when the Ukraine war is arguably a provocation by US and the NATO, right? Only when you know the logic behind this, then you understand how this war break out. Imagine right now, we have you have an arch enemy, and an arch enemy come closer and closer to your doorstep. One day is right at your doorstep. What will you do? What will you do? Right? So what happened? So Putin already warned countless times already, don't come near to my doorstep. NATO, heck care, Ukraine, lagi si. Keep cutting, shake hand, kiss NATO left, right, center, and lick their boots. So, are we surprised that on 24th of February, Russia invaded Ukraine? It's basically summed up by a very good video by a Mediacorp Channel 8, surprisingly. Channel 8 actually says this, okay? The analysis of this, why it basically invaded. They basically invaded because of this phrase. 老虎不发威，你把我当 Hello Kitty. This is very funny, right? Okay. 老虎不发威，你把我当 Hello Kitty. Translating it basically means that freaking hell, I'm a tiger. Just because I didn't show off my prowess, you treated me like a Hello Kitty. I thought it was damn funny. Okay, Channel 8 actually did this. Okay, a good friend of mine runs the Channel 8 news organization. I told him it was very funny, right? So therefore, Russia invaded Ukraine. We shouldn't all be surprised. Okay, the surprising thing is that, okay, you know, in this actually, my analysis is probably less provocative than the Channel 8 analysis. The Channel 8 analysis was even more provocative than mine. They actually said that U.S. President Putin actually stated that on the 16th of February, Russia will invade Ukraine, right? But when you keep mentioning it, you know, then you get everybody all tense up, and then war will easily break off. Okay, so what happens? You got to start thinking right now. In a war like this, who benefits the most and who suffered the most? So this is Russia. Everybody said Russia will benefit the most. That's why they went. When Russia and Ukraine fight, think about this. When this is Russia Ukraine now, right? Russia non-stop have a lot of pilots being shot, their airplanes being shot down, their tanks being shot down. Okay, and Ukraine, there's a range of casualties right now. Russia themselves said a few hundred troops have died. Ukraine said over 11,000 Russian troops have died. Okay, so there's somewhere a number in between. Okay, so how many? So it doesn't matter, but the whole machinery of Russia is now being whacked. So you have now the Russian military power now going down. Okay, and who is benefiting the most from this fight? So this is very interesting. Okay, everybody say I must conquer Ukraine. Ukraine very good. Conquer it very good. Ukraine is one of the most worthless country to conquer in Europe. Ukraine is arguably the most economically worthless country for Russia to conquer. Why? Because Ukraine got no natural resources. They got wheat, they have some metal, they don't have oil. Okay, nothing there. It's one of the poorest country in the world. Okay, so in fact, I didn't say this. Wikipedia says this. It says that Ukraine is the poorest country in Europe by GDP terms. Poorest. You can conquer it for what? Russia gonna force into it. Now this is now the fight is happening, right? Okay. Really, to understand who is the culprit, you simply need to understand who is benefiting the most from the fight. Who is benefiting the most? Think about it. Who benefit the most? Now they fight, right? Who is biggest US enemy? Arguably China, Russia. Now US don't need to come up with one single soldier. Okay, don't need to come one single soldier. Need to pay a little bit of money. They got the whole Russia kena whack left, right, center by Ukraine. Ukraine is not a small country there. It's not like Singapore, no. It's a big country, 50 over million people, no. A lot of troops. The best part is right now, okay. The best part is right now, the war broke out, right? It used to be a lot of countries wanted to stay neutral. Well, now Ukraine cannot invaded by Russia, right? Suddenly, a lot of countries now want to join NATO. A lot of countries, NATO's power suddenly overnight, right? A lot of the neutral countries wanted now to join NATO. Yes, okay. So Finland, Sweden used to want to be neutral because they are very wary of Russia if they join NATO. Now you see, neutral also no use, also at risk. So might as well join NATO. Yeah. So really right now, okay, exactly this war actually swing a lot of countries towards NATO. NATO's organization just became bigger. Who benefited from it is very easy to see. When there's war, what happens? Every country, they send their money to the safest country. And who is the safest country to send? Just look at exchange rate, you will know. This is the US to the Russian ruble. Look at the graph. This is the US to Euro, also shooting up. The US dollar now to the Singapore dollar is now 136 or 137. Do you know how much it has risen to? Everybody have a flight to safety overnight. US become an economically more powerful, right? The US dollar just became more powerful. Everybody wants a big brother in times of crisis. This is NATO, and right at the heart of it is President Biden, right? President Biden just overnight became stronger. US set a trap for Russia and Russia fell right into it. Yes, you are absolutely right. Okay? The best part is, usually in a war, what determines who wins the war? Usually, not all the case. I think there was a show called Game of Thrones, where Cersei Lannister actually told it to the brother, gold wins war. Whoever have the most money wins war. To some extent, yes. Okay, not always the case, right? So clearly, who's funding Russia? Russia is funding Russia, right? Poor thing. They are funding themselves, right? But who's funding Ukraine? Who's funding Ukraine? Do you know who's funding Ukraine? If it's Ukraine just fighting himself, he's gone. But now, every father, mother, son country in Europe are pouring floodgates of money, weapons, and everything into Ukraine. Ukraine arguably has never been so rich. It's a very poor country, right? So therefore, this is European Union sent 450 million euros into Europe has sent $450 million. United Kingdom didn't say how much, but sent a hell of weapons over. United States sent $350 million. United States so rich, $350 million is nothing. Okay? Finland, neutral country, sent 1,500 rocket launchers, 2,500 assault rifles and ammunition. You know how small Finland is? Finland is very small as a population country. Sweden, Norway, Denmark all send a lot of things. Canada, who is so freaking far away, also sent $390 million to it. Okay? Belgium sent a lot of money. Czech Republic also sent a lot of money. Do you realize what happened? US orchestrated, NATO, US orchestrated this fight, possibly, arguably, and the whole world is funding. US don't even come out much money. And then now Russia is against the freaking world. It's very difficult to fight a freaking war, you know. If you fight one country, it's okay, but the country is non-stop being resupplied again and again and again and again by weapons. Hey, those people on YouTube, can you please like the video? 185 of you there, only 36 likes. How is Russia going to win? It's going to fight against the world. Russia can fight against Ukraine, but Russia cannot fight against the world. The world is supplying non-stop weapons and money and everything into Ukraine. Not only that, because of the propaganda that is now set up, a lot of freedom, a lot of democratic belief and a lot of injustice believing against injustice fighters are now joining in the foreign legion. That means there's a lot of foreigners now entering into Ukraine to fight against Russia. Even countries from US, UK, over Europe, I understand even Thailand. I'm not even surprised if Singaporeans with military background also join the fight. Just feel injustice, right? You know what happened? The fight was orchestrated and the culprit did not even need to send one troop, and tons of soldiers came in, tons of money came in, tons of weapons came in. How smart a move. How freaking smart a move. Okay? You understand where I'm getting at? Yes, please. Hey, 194 y'all, can you please give a like the video, please, in YouTube? So, of course, Russia big take, right? Russia very angry, basket, you know. Or a lot of countries invoke sanction on them. And even Singapore, such a small, tiny, weeny country, also whacked a sanction on Russia. So Russia came out with a list of unfriendly countries. The list of unfriendly countries, Singapore is one of them. Singapore is one of them. Russians say, basket, I don't friend you already. You're right against me. Okay? I hope you understand where this thing is coming from. You understand where all this moves politically is and things like that. So the question really for us is, actually the war is very far away from you guys. It's very near where I am right now because I'm in Europe. It's very far away from you guys. But the impact is already felt right at your in your geographical region. Our petrol prices have shot up to the sky. It's now $3 per liter for 95 petrol, no? So really everybody's question is, well, how long will this war last? So if this war don't last long, then it's maybe okay lah, Chibanya is okay. The magic question is, how long will this war last? Because if it's a short war, then it's okay, right? It's a short war, it's okay, you know, not big a deal. All the impact will go away. Is this going to be a short war? Okay? We should paraphrase my question. Okay? The paraphrasing my question is, who gains the most from a prolonged war and who loses the most? It is in whose interest to have a long war, and it is his true interest to have a short war. Yeah, whose interest? Who wants a long war? Russia doesn't want a long war. Ukraine doesn't want a long war. But in a long war, who get weakened tremendously? Who? Ukraine is already shit. But Russia will get weakened tremendously. And who will be laughing to the bank when Russian get weakened tremendously? US will gain the most. So is it in the US interest to have a short war? Can you ask yourself this question? How difficult it is to stop the war? It's very easy. NATO just go in, impose a no-fly zone. Some people say, oh, no. When NATO comes in, impose a no-fly zone, that means they have potential to shoot down Russian planes, right? When they do this, they will cause World War III to happen. But there is precedent. In Yugoslavia, 1995, President Bill Clinton sent military in, send the military in to stop the war on humanitarian grounds. President Obama did the same thing in Libyan civil war. There are precedents to this happen. But why in this one NATO say no, Lim Pei Michael, I don't want to go in? Ask yourself this question. Yes, going in might provoke a big war, yes. But maybe there's another reason. Right? So therefore, okay, Biden, there is an article which I've sent in under BBC, I think, okay? It's under slides plus one, under Culprit plus one, the slides, okay? So therefore, NATO rejected Ukraine appeal. President Zelensky has cried. I watch his video every day. Please impose a no-fly zone, okay? President Biden won't do it. NATO won't do it. They have planes flying around already. They just won't do it. It is in whose interest to have a long war and to have a short war? Ask this question. Okay? Now for us ordinary people, see, nobody wants a long war. But the Pentagon has been briefed, okay, US lawmakers has been briefed, and the US estimates, I don't know whether it's a US estimate or US wish, 10 to 20 years. 10 to 20 years for this war. Okay, 10 to 20 years. All right, there's an article on this. I put the reference in the article. Oh yeah, so it's so now basically I've analyzed for you who is the culprit behind the war. Okay, once we understand the culprit behind the war, we understand the motivations, we understand who are the wayang dancers, the people that controls all the players in it. We understand to some extent. I'm not sympathetic towards Russia, don't get me wrong, they should never invade it, right? But at least I understand why they do it. I understand why they do it, okay? And to a lot of extent, we now know the motivations behind the war. We also now know who it is in whose interest to have a long and short war. We know who are the players, how money is flowing in and out, okay? So the question right now is, what does it mean for the global economy and what does it mean for Singapore, right? So a few days ago, I gave a video on stagflation. It was a probabilistic guess. At that point in time, I said 30% of economies is leaning towards a stagflation. I didn't even know that, but the environment looks like a stagflation environment. In fact, stagflation only happened in 1970. In the whole history of mankind, I think only 1970 happened once. But there's 1 or 2 pages in a chapter of economic textbook, and we do it in university as a trained economist. Okay, so therefore, in a stagflation environment, okay, what does it mean for all of us? Now, I was still probabilistic. It means it could happen. Now I don't think it's a could anymore. It's a mayhem anymore. I think it's almost for sure it will happen. So therefore, I can say for sure right now, my stance have changed. I used to say that it's a may happen. Now I say it will likely happen. In fact, it will happen. So therefore, we'll ignite a 1970 style stagflation. If you missed the video of stagflation, go to my YouTube channel 1965YT+1. Okay, for those people reading in YouTube, good for you. For those people on the premium of Facebook, 1965YT+1, you go there and click follow as well. You will watch the whole video on stagflation. Stagflation is more jalat. It's a more jalat, more, how do you say jalat in English? It's strength. More serious than recession or inflation. It's a combination of both. Very rarely happens. Okay, very rarely happens. In fact, just today, Senior Minister Taman, who is a world famous economist, and everybody actually say that he was a deputy prime minister. I had the fortune of giving a talk to him in one of my 1965 talk. Okay, very smart person. I met him and he was really a very smart economist. He actually said this today. The world faces a perfect long storm of Ukraine crisis, Omicron and stagflation. Minister Taman. Okay. Yep. So Minister Taman is now calling out a stagflation. Okay. So I just want to say this, that it is a serious, clear and present danger of us facing a high inflation and high recession environment. If it's a high inflation environment, I know what to do. If it's a high recession environment, I know what to do as a trained economist. When you combine both together, jalat, very difficult. You keep money also wrong, because inflation eats up your money. You spend money also wrong, because there's an economic recession coming. So when you combine both together, you had it. Okay. So in my video on stagflation, I actually say this: what should we do as individuals when there's a stagflation environment? Okay. Stagflation is going to be a low probability. I don't think so. Okay, I'm a trained economist. I see this kind of thing. I think it's not no longer probabilistic. It's already here. Okay. Yes. We got now a high oil price environment, supply chain blockages. Ukraine now in war. A lot of the supply side flows are all restricted. We have high inflation, and production cannot happen. We exactly fall in a textbook case of how a stagflation happened. Okay. Yes. So what should we do? Okay. As individual citizens, okay, we must separate the impact. Watch the video that I say earlier, but I'll give you a summary. Deal with the inflationary risk and the recessionary risk separately. Okay. Now, don't be daunted by this fear of this word called stagflation, but deal it separately. In the case of inflationary environment, you fight it by being more resourceful. You look for lower cost alternative, being resourceful. In the case of economic recession, you take advantage of this time to train for better skill, higher paid skill, and also becoming more entrepreneurial. So combining these two together gives you exactly what you need to do. And in this environment, we should expect, there's one thing about stock market, it will become incredibly volatile. In fact, yesterday the stock market crashed, and today the stock market chong up again, chong up high. Yesterday, it just go up, down. This time around, in the analogy that I always use, is not just having a boss it's not just having a moody boss. It's combining a moody boss, moody wife, and a moody mother-in-law, all coming to your life. You don't know when last time you could still predict it's 135 is good mood, 246 is bad mood. Now you cannot predict, because when you combine mother-in-law bad mood, wife bad mood and boss bad mood all together, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be offensive to ladies, I'm just illustrating this, okay? You don't know when the bad mood will hit you. Exactly right now. I cannot freaking predict the stock market right now. You can't. You just go up. Okay. So it is a moody wife, moody mother, moody boss. Yes. Okay. Yes. So what I wanted to say is, please, in such an environment, be very mindful now. So therefore, I'm sorry I gave you a lesson on politics. But in order to understand the economic and stock market implication, we must understand the political implication. Okay? Cool? Right? This kid Lu, by the way, who is my eldest girl. Okay? One very street smart girl. Okay? Cool. Understand? So I hope that you guys have appreciation of who the culprit behind the war is. Understanding it will help us understand the implication to us as ordinary economic citizens, and eventually will lead us to a clearer path. What will happen and what should we do? Cool? Okay. I hope you find this sharing useful. Okay. Hey, a lot of research gone into this, Yeah, I spent a lot of research into this. Just give me some. Yeah, don't be so new. Especially those YouTube and 300 of y'all there. Only 100 of y'all give me a like. Hiya. Yeah. I ask for likes is because the YouTube and Facebook algorithm will then promote the video. Yes. Okay, cool. I can take some comments and questions right now. Right, I can take some some questions right now. Okay, yes, thank you for your likes. Okay, and promote. Yeah, this is already 12:10. Yeah, thanks for a few hundred of y'all, staying up. 600 of y'all staying up. Yes, start sell bags. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, good. Mr. Lu, as a risk-averse person, if I extra funds on in stagflation environment, what do you think I should do? Immediate action. I don't think we need to rush. I think we can wait and see, because it's a high volatile period right now, it's very difficult to tell what to do. I think it's okay to wait and see. How long will conflict last? I just tell you, it is not in the interest of some big countries that the war would last shortly, but it's the interest of Russia to last shortly. So I hope that Russia will either come to realization they are being made use of. I'm sure they really know, okay, and don't get sucked up into this trap. Yeah. Okay. What is your view on New World Order? It's very clear. After this whole thing is over, US leadership will rise and Russia leadership will fall. China is the big question mark where China will be. And China actually is now standing at the side, refuse to drag inside. That is smart, right? That is smart, right? Just capo and watch, don't get involved. Yes. Do you suggest I sell my gold since the price went up so much? I can't tell, I can't speculate on gold. The good thing about gold is that gold prices goes up in times of crisis like this. Biden too capo about others. Perhaps his intention to manipulate all prices, sell outdated weapon. Maybe. I don't think Biden is stupid. Okay, yeah. Use nuclear can shorten war. I don't think so. The thing about nuclear weapon is, I think there's a term for it. Is a mutually assured destruction, meaning that mutually assured destruction. MAD, yes. It's called an MAD outcome. Mutually assured destruction. You fire, I fire, everybody dies. Nobody will do that. Did you buy a lot of orange Prada t-shirt? I see you wear this Prada t-shirt every day. I wash it every day. Okay? So I wash it at night and next day wear, wash it and next day wear. Because I only bring about 2 or 3 shirts per trip. My exercise gear and maybe 1 t-shirt. Okay? That's all I do. Yes. Okay? Yeah. Okay, I'll try to wear another shirt. Okay. Rest assured, I wash it every day. Okay? This is how we keep our luggages light. Will Singapore go into recession? Singapore will be hit economically. I don't know whether it will go into a technical recession. A technical recession is defined as 2 quarters of negative growth. I am not sure it will hit that. Okay, but definitely there'll be some slowdown. What do you think about S&P 550-day and 200-day moving average touching? I don't know. I can't predict. Okay? I can only tell that right now. This period will be a huge period of volatility. And if the market goes down quite a lot, I will jump in for sure. Okay, never wrong about that. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so I hope Europe users are looking at more diverse source. There's positives for Southeast Asia. There are other sources of hydrocarbon in Brazil, East Timor. Yes, it's very clear. Now, I think one good thing about Singapore is that when oil prices goes up, Singapore benefits, because there are a lot of oil refineries and things like that. So I think it's in some sense is in that aspect is a good thing, but not for long. How will stagflation affect prices of house in Singapore? Hard to say. Okay. Because theoretically, in a highly inflation environment, prices go up. But the government non-stop will take a sharp needle and poke and burst the property bubble. So I can't tell. Mr. Lu, inflation hits on everything right now. Even now, COE prices shoot up. Exactly. Judy, I'm planning to take out investment-linked policy, single premium. Is it the right time to do now? I am very against investment-linked policy. It's one of those things that get people poor. I've got a video on that already. Go to my YouTube channel, 1965YT+1, and you can watch it. Okay? Any other questions here? Imagine Federal Reserve raise rates aggressively next week. I don't think so. They have outrightly said that they won't. They were increased by this Jerome Powell, which is the chairman of Federal Reserve, have already said that he's looking at a 0.25% raise. Okay? Yes. All right. Okay. Fed will defer. Okay, good. Okay, will REITs do well in taxation? In an inflationary environment, wrong. In a stagflation, in fact, I think REITs will be hit terribly. Look here. What are fixed income, high dividend stocks and REITs most afraid of? They're afraid of economic recession because their ability to pay out, their payout will be impacted. And second is that in an inflationary environment, people don't like fixed dividends payment because the value of currency goes down. So therefore, REITs will be doubly hit terribly. Okay, high dividend stocks and REITs will be hit doubly in a stagflation environment. It's a good time to buy S&P 500. I can't tell you, okay, whether you go down further, but I can tell you I just went in and I'm prepared to go in some more. Okay, yes, 25 basis points. The Indian boy predicted stock market will crash after March 16. The stock market already crashed. Yep. Yeah. For info right now, you kidding? Petrol 95 is now $3.26 per litre. Wah piang! I don't even know that. I thought it's just $3. $3.26. Oh, that's scary, right? Okay. And maybe I should do another talk on petrol prices now. Right? When it crosses a certain price, then a lot of people will start consuming less petrol. Then a lot of alternatives will come in. There's an article in there I read out. Okay, quite interesting. Any chance of property price skyrocketing? Since property skyrocket, any chance of margin call in Singapore very rare. Okay, yes, very rare. Okay, good. Okay, so today can buy US dollar in. I don't like to speculate on currency. It's very volatile. It's even worse than the Nasdaq. So for those people who who speculate on currency, I almost see very few long-term winners. Short-term winners I see a lot. Long-term winners very few. Long-term bankruptcy a lot. That means they pay, wow, bankrupt. I see quite a lot of them. Okay. So I don't encourage that. The concentration on new funds to fund green tech will be great for S&P 500. Okay, but S&P 500 don't have a lot of green counters. Yeah. Okay. So let me just wrap up tonight. Okay, this is almost 12:30. I just say this. First of all, I'm not a political analyst. Okay, but I'm an economist for trading. I'm a finance coach. I'm a finance educator. But in order for us to understand the current situation right now, we have to understand the political hands that are moving behind the scene. And it's very clear right now to me who the culprits are in this war. Okay? And it's also very interesting right now to understand why certain actions are being taken and certain actions are not being taken. In order for us to understand whether the economic implication, how long the war lasts, to what extent, you need to understand who wins and who loses in this war. Once you understand this, it's very clear what will happen. Once you understand very clear what will happen, then very clear what will happen to us. And then it's easier to understand what we should now do. Cool? Thank you for watching tonight. Okay, we'll see you next time on my talk. Okay, I hope you enjoyed tonight. Good night and thank you. Okay.